Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. This is your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles, and I'm at Mile High altitude, 5,280 feet, where you will be in September 21st to 24th. Make sure you rise up to milehigh.com. That's where you can find out all the information. And also make sure you click subscribe so you never miss any Mile High tick. Whatever way you're watching this, whether it be on Apple or Spotify or YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe so you always are dialed into Mile High Tick. Super thrilled to have Jenna Quentin, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, so I'll have to cover that, with Adjust Your Media Agency, who will be at Mile High. And she's really passionate about social media and chiropractors being successful through social media. And you're going to learn a lot from her today, because this is an area that all of us have to get better at. Please understand, look, people may have different frames of reference, whether their age group they're in or how they want to be involved with social media. It's the technology of today, and the web is technology today. BJ Palmer used radio because that was the technology today. He did everything he could using radio to get the message of chiropractic out. And you have to get the message of chiropractic, and the technology today is not radio, it's social media and your website. So thank you for taking your time to be with us today, Jenna.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And so, first of all, before we talk about more about social media and chiropractic, and I'm sure people are going to get a lot of juicy information to help them in practice and help them impact more lives. How did you end up in the chiropractic world?
Yes, so it is a fantastic thing that my husband and I were living in France, had two babies there, and after that second birth, I was just so subluxated, I can't even describe it. I would hold my neck and my forehead, sneeze, and was just unable to lift my baby out of her crib, and could not find a chiropractor in the area we were living in. So we moved to the US and had two babies, a cat, 35 boxes, no jobs. And my dad said, I think you should be friends with these two chiropractors, this couple. And I was like, of all the information, all the, dad advice he could have given me at that moment, it was, these are the people who you need in your life. And so then I started getting adjusted, and it was exactly what I needed in my life. And then, while I started to see life return to my body, right? What I really noticed was our oldest was having sensory processing issues, and we were just kind of understanding what that was, right? That it wasn't behavioral, that it was actually logical. And so I asked our best friends, our chiropractors, do you think this 5-year-old could get adjusted? And of course, he was like, I have not been listening. Yes, absolutely. But I wasn't sure if this kid would even allow him to adjust him. But like so many, like I'm sure everyone has seen, this child laid down on the table, got adjusted, and just completely relaxed. Like for the first time in his life was just like, And that really sealed it for my husband and I, that we saw this child just thrive, start doing things like being on a swing set and comfortable, being willing to, not wear a hoodie all the time as a preschooler, all of this life coming back. So then in my career as a copywriter, as a journalist, I started to see that what I really wanted to do was tell other families about chiropractic, and that if I narrowed down and niche down to just talking about chiropractic, that I could get better at it, get better at the vocabulary and the understanding of it. And so, yeah, that the rest is kind of history. That since then, while I work with chiropractors, my heart is really for people on the other end of their Facebook page. So I'm happy to help chiropractors, but it's really about the people that they reach, the other families, grandmas, grandpas, teenagers on TikTok, dads on Facebook Marketplace. We want to reach them all.
That's a really important message, because, I tell chiropractors that all the time, is that you've got to focus on, it's not about you, but it's about the people that you're helping and that you impact. It's not about, oh, I got that keyword got 20 people from that ad, that event, but rather switch that focus into how may impact lives you are impacting. Because if you focus on what you got, it never has the same reach as you focusing on what others gain. And I'm really grateful to hear that come out of your mouth relative to your business. So you provide boutique account management, coaching, trainings for people, and focus on chiropractic content exclusively. Why do you focus on chiropractic content exclusively?
Well, because I was writing for like a wedding venue and a life coach. And as you, I was doing journalism and covering, county commission meetings. And I started to realize that, county commission meetings talking about the mill levy and all of these things. I needed to learn more about that. And I love research and I love learning. But then, on the other hand, the wedding market has a whole different season of engagements and timing and things. And I knew that I couldn't do as good a job as I wanted to. I couldn't be truly excellent if I kept trying to do everything. And when I thought about, I have 4 children, and if I'm going to spend time doing something, it needs to be something that I really love, that I'm passionate about. My youngest just started kindergarten, so we're in a new season. But before that, if I needed to catch up in the evening after the kids went to bed or on weekends, I need a big enough why. And that was chiropractic for everything that it had done in our family. And just, I've grown up in natural health. And so dialing into just chiropractic was really a great fit.
Wow, that's really wonderful to hear. So, since you're so passionate about sharing the audio message of chiropractic and how it's impacted your life and things that you've experienced and wanting to, yes, help the chiropractors be impactful, but, impacting the people, as you said, on the other end of the social media or the other end of the website, what subluxations do you see in chiropractic digital marketing?
So the first is really mindset. The majority of chiropractors who start talking to me at my booth at an event or in an email or something, the first thing that they're going to say is, I hate social media. And I'm like, I know, and yet you're still talking to me. So that mindset of hating it or thinking this is so toxic, why are we giving our money to Zuckerberg or something? Or then the other side of that mindset of it's just for leads. Like, okay, so if I go live, how many patients am I going to get live? And it's like, well, let's kind of shift that mindset around. I've been thinking about brownies a lot, actually. And so I was thinking about that we all love brownies, even if we don't like to bake. So maybe we can start thinking about what is the result that we want, that clear, connected community that we live in, that we practice in, that our children go to school in, that our friends or business owners in. Like, that's the brownie that we want, is everybody clear and adjusted. But if that means that we don't love baking, we don't love the method of it there, well, then we need to just shift our mindset to, how do you get brownies? And of course, multiple ways.
And that's, that's the same thing. I hate screenings. I hate doing a class. Well, I mean, do you love people getting chiropractic care? Or in this case, I hate social media. And people have those things, but you have to come to terms with, maybe BJ Palmer hated radio, but he realized, I don't know if he did, maybe he loved it, but, he came to terms that, hey, we have to reach more people. So what's like something amazing? There's got to be a success story where you heard someone's life change, or you saw a doctor's practice turnaround, or a practice member like help a kid that wouldn't have been helped. Is there something like along those lines that you can share?
Honestly, yes and no, because I have to know that each person who comes in, maybe they wrote on their new patient form that their sister referred them. but I've got sisters and I don't do anything my sisters tell me to do unless I've thoroughly vetted it, right? So it is a very tricky thing to say, um, these new patients were all referrals, but how many of them checked out your social media, at your website, read your blog, or when their sister referred them, was it that she said, hey, Dr. Danny wrote a blog post about ear infections, and my niece has had so many ear infections, you should read his blog. So then the mom writes down, I'm here because my sister referred, but what really started it was the blog post about ear infections or the video about ear infections that then resulted in that child getting adjusted, not getting ear tubes, getting better. There's different things like that where even I have a friend who said, who's a nurse, who said, I look at my son and he just looks like he has some torticollis. Like he doesn't have great range of motion. Could a chiropractor help? And I was able to share and say yes. And, now doing great and doing fine. But I think that more than the big flashy stories, like I could tell you, oh, this reel went viral and, that grew. But bigger than that, it's all of the energy that doctors are putting out starts to come back to them. There's an office that, let's see, it was probably January of 2021, started doing social media, hired their first CA, and since then has tripled in business and in size. And
Wow.
would I say, oh, it's just because they started posting on Instagram? No, clearly not. They've also done large, beautiful new patient appreciation days that they posted on social media, and had business collaborations where businesses donated things for prizes. But now they have like 400 Google reviews and they have things rolling. Now they even outgrew me because now they have a team big enough to handle their own social media, so that's what I want to see is not just, oh, this one live that you did was so impactful. And that probably will happen if you keep posting and sharing enough and getting deep enough into your own story and deep enough into people's story. I think it goes back to, I think it was Seth Godin in one of his marketing books that said, you're not selling a drill, you're not even selling the hole on the wall that, the picture hangs on. You're not just selling the ability to hang that picture. What you're selling is that family being able to see their wedding picture hanging on the wall. That's why you're selling the drill. I think we need to do that with chiropractic, of not saying, or even just social media, that we're not doing live for new patients. We're not doing social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube for even reactivating current patients. We're doing it for all of that and for the global vision of elevating chiropractic awareness.
And that's what we are doing. And you want to also do it inconsistent with the values we have. So look, I get calls, probably every doctor listening to this get calls, emails. I mean, I get so many per day, and messenger messages and all kinds of spammy things of, do your social media marketing with me, and we're going to get this many people in the door with this cheap exam or something like that. And it's to get, rid of neck pain or headaches and or whatever it might be. How can you do social media consistent with ADIO values? I mean, that's got to be, there's ways to do it.
Yes. So I always go back to stories. So it is going to be unique to your office. It's going to resonate with your people. And even the copywriting tools that they teach us of use your customer, your client, your patient's words in your copy so that they feel seen and heard. Stories do that. And even, nobody can argue with me about my son's sensory processing issues because I lived it. It is a fact that he couldn't be on a swing set, and he was adjusted for several months, and he started swinging.
Wow,
so
that's wow.
I mean, which is such a small thing, and yet as a parent, when you look over and his proprioceptive motion sensors are calmed down enough that he can be comfortable and swing, it's a giant moment. So those stories are really the core of what I do for my one-on-one clients or what I teach in my membership. It is, whether it is a video of a doctor talking and telling a story, whether it is a photo of that child, whether it is scans or x-rays showing before and after, stories are going to be the main part of what we want to do, and showing it in a principled way. Even one of my members, I had sent a little chalkboard that said chiropractic helps me too, and they took a picture of a patient just holding it up, and I don't remember what the chalkboard says. It's kind of irrelevant because it was just something about how function and quality of life is restored. So and that is something that no marketer can give you. It has to start within your own office. You have to be willing to get those pictures, get those videos, and share those stories.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And then you can, convert the language in a way that you're not saying I'm treating this or curing this, but giving credit to the person's innate capacity to heal.
Exactly.
Right. Does that go back to what you shared with me before this about your favorite quote, write hard and clear about what hurts? Because I think that's part of stories, people saying what's real in their lives or what's authentic, from Ernest Hemingway.
Yes. So that even, there is a beautiful video. Now I can't think of what the office's name is. Dr. Matthew something.
Okay.
Anyway, and he shared about his father who is bipolar, and he shared about adjusting his dad's atlas. And it is a video from a few years ago, but a black background, just doctor just sharing his heart out about his father's restored function. And he's not saying chiropractic heals all mental illness. He's saying this story, and he's clearly emotional. It's just riveting. And I think that's something that I'm going to be working on a talk for at some point in my life about, like, we're not asking doctors to share all of their private lives, right? We're asking, is there something that touches or that touched a patient? Like, why is it so important that they don't have insomnia anymore? It's so that they are gentle and kind and loving with their kids, or what is that part of the story that hurts a little bit, but that lets other people be seen and be healed in their own stories.
Yeah. And that's all vital for people to realize. So, should chiropractors do their social media and website on their own?
So yes, this kind of comes back to my brownie analogy, which is because we all want to eat brownie, but we don't all like to bake, right? So I think how many people who love brownies have used a brownie mix, even if they don't like to bake? I think a lot of us have. So that is something that you can train your CA, you can train staff member, even, one of your teenagers or college age kids, you can train them and delegate it and just give them a brownie mix, so that you're not having to do it. I say the eggs and milk are your photos and videos. You need to have them on hand. The supply of, all of us should have some good quality oil and good quality eggs on hand, so that we can make brownies whenever we want. So that side where I think in office, in-house, social media is just really powerful, because then when somebody comments, that team member is going to be able to see, oh, that's doctor's sister, or, oh, it's snowing today, or there's a hurricane where we are, we should be relevant to that. So all of those timely things. It's less expensive to have an in-house person be doing it. But I always am like, don't say, Jenna said you need to do social media, and just throw your team member to the sharks. Do get them the training and support that they need. But then on the other hand, if that's just not an option, we have bakeries we can just go and buy brownies. We can go and buy cakes and cookies. We can go buy things that we want to enjoy. So that's where having a social media manager comes in. Either a brownie mix or a bakery, both are good options and both get you the delicious results.
Mm-hmm. And do you recommend people in some cases also get a virtual assistant in addition?
That is a little bit tricky. I haven't necessarily recommended that. I think that a team member kind of can function as a virtual assistant. It doesn't have to be, I know some doctors who I've worked with have had a team member who works from home. I think that I'm always hesitant to just turn anybody loose with, for one, a healthcare topic. And particularly one where it's chiropractic and we want to elevate awareness. So if it really would need to be a highly trained chiropractic advocate or who has those tools and training, so that they're not just randomly pulling something off the internet. I wanted, a couple years ago, I wanted to get some chiropractic stickers and found a bundle, and then through the bundle of chiropractic stickers, pulled one out that was just highly inappropriate. And it was just like, oh, that's random. That's not chiropractic. That is the risk that we run, which is why I do what I do and either manage it for you or help to train your team.
Yep. So, with that, do you think your CA, people should have, like, especially an office that maybe has one CA, like that they give that job of social media to their CA?
Possibly, because with like the tools, I would say 10 to 15 hours a month is necessary. So your CA have 10 to 15 hours a month to manage your social media. On the other side, if you do not have the revenue for a social media manager who is posting organically, don't think it's going to be a magic fix. I always tell people, give it 6 months, give it 12 months. If your business is in trouble, it is not, like, a social media manager is an expense to add to that, where you're going to be growing relationships slowly over time, because we're not running conversion ads. What we're doing is posting organically, posting stories, working on, awareness and then consideration before that conversion phase. So it's kind of time versus money, warp that we all have.
Right. And that's important. Okay. And then, like, people can spend lots of money on social media, advertising, ads on Facebook, ads on Google, etc. How do you know, and then there's organic posting, without maybe doing advertising. How can you figure out if you're actually, if this is paying for itself or what your ROI is?
Yeah, so the ROI for organic social media, organic content. So whether it is press releases, email newsletters, blog posts, or social media, what we want to see is reach increasing. That's top of the funnel, is reach increasing. And on a press release, that's something it's like, yes, you put the word out, people definitely saw it. On email newsletters, we're going to be looking at the numbers like open rates and click-through rates. On social media, we're looking, is reach steadily increasing, or do we need to make some changes? Is engagement steadily increasing, or do we need to make some changes? And particularly on Facebook and Instagram, what I'm looking at is also click-through rate, as it were, of link clicks. So are people clicking on your link? Are you having conversations with them in your direct messages? And is the general tone of your office, are people talking about it? Are people saying, oh, I saw your story, or, oh, I saw that video? And creating that, it's part of a culture of education. So it is, in part, like, it can't be completely separated from what you're doing in the office. Your office needs to be asking, have you seen our Facebook and Instagram? Not just, where did you learn about us? Your office needs to have something that says, follow us on Facebook, so that you can learn more. They need to be recommending things like, oh, you're asking about ear infections. We actually have a blog post about that. Let me text you the link. So it is a cooperative effort of, maybe it's a collaboration of numbers, but then real world increasing relationships. I know one doctor had asked me one time, how long is this going to take? And I said, how long do you date somebody before they propose? I don't know. It's going to be case by case, but is that relationship deepening and growing, whether it takes 3 years or 3 weeks?
You mean there's not like a set timeline for that for getting married?
Not really.
So now, you talk first, I want people to know how they can get in touch with you and learn more. And at the same time, you talk about being a boutique agency. What does that mean? And why would someone want to work with a boutique agency?
Yes. So what it means is when clients have their monthly call to talk about their stories in their office, they talk to me. They're not talking to somebody random who they've never heard about. It means that when I have an assistant and graphic designer that we're closely collaborating on editing their graphics, editing their video, it means that they're not going to get cookie cutter random captions. They're not going to get cookie cutter random graphics. It is designed for them as if I was there, as close as I can get to being their assistant in their office. It means that it is all created for them, by them. They get to review it, and then we are checking and blocking spammers and all of those kinds of things. And why to work with me? I think partly it is that I go to chiropractic events to learn more. I will be in there, sitting there, writing. I have bullet journals full of notes from chiropractic conferences. I get adjusted, and it is very much as personal of a connection. If you're going to trust me with your online presence, then I want you to be able to know what kind of person I am and how I do business. And yes, that I love chiropractic.
And people get in touch with you how?
So I am at Adjust Your Media everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, Gmail, Twitter, if Twitter's still, or if we're calling it X or whatever. if you search Adjust Your Media, you will find me.
Excellent. So now also we talked a little bit about chiropractors, maybe someone coming up to you when you or talking to you when they realize in conversation what it is that you do, and they say something like I hate social media or something like that, or whatever it is. What's the difference of toxic social media versus connections?
Okay, so I love that question because I always tell people there somewhere on earth, there is a mom hiding in her closet. She was up all night with a colicky baby. She's eating fair trade dark chocolate, and she just wants 5 minutes away from the kids. And so we all know she's scrolling Instagram. And as she's scrolling Instagram, are you going to show up for her? Are you going to tell her we can help? Are you going to show her something funny? Are you going to show her something educational? Are you going to show her something inspirational? But she's on there. And if we aren't, are we just going to leave her in that dark closet all alone?
Right. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. So then how does someone know they're working with a good social media manager? I don't know if there's such a thing as a good or bad, but how do they know the process of working with them is being effective?
So I do think that it is the combined effect of, like, are you having more new patients? Are your patient visits increasing? I think it's kind of like if you, in the days of newsletters, if you just mail out newsletters, I think Dr. Sid Williams used to say, do newsletters, put it on colored paper. So if you were mailing out newsletters, how would you track that those newsletters were being effective? Well, that people were talking about it, that more people were coming in, and that fewer of them were being returned to you by mail, that you had the right addresses. So it's that same kind of thing. Are we starting conversations? Are those conversations causing people to be more engaged? And is it causing more people to come and get adjusted? So it is in part the numbers, but it is also the game of patience and curiosity on our part. What is working? What is not? I have posts that I love that really flop, and then I'm like, was I doing that for me, or was there for that content? And then we just have fun with it, because I guarantee if you post things that you enjoyed posting, if you post things that you had fun doing, people are going to see that in that video, and people will respond to the joy that you put out.
Well, and I gotta ask this, it sounds like you have a lot of joy and fun doing this.
I do. This is what I come back to, days when I'm tired, the days when I have no more ideas. Then when I dig down a little bit deeper and go, okay, I'm doing some things with being incorporated and stuff. So it's like, why did I start this? Why didn't I just take an easy route of doing something boring? And it's like, because I love it.
Yeah. Love it. Okay. So when people come up to see you, if they're attending Mile High, if you're listening to this, watching this, there's no reason it should not be a Mile High. Go to riseuptomilehigh.com and commit to rising up. And see, events at sea level are for slackers. So now if you're at Mile High and people are coming up to talk to you, Jenna, what should they ask?
Let's see. They should ask how they can be more consistent and save time doing their social media.
Oh, wow. That is a good question. Yeah. The saving time thing, because people think, social media can take a lot of time.
Yes. And it definitely can. I know that there are times when my phone tells me, oh, how long have you been on the, and I'm like, oh, that's not right. That's right. Not okay. So we definitely can. But when we put systems in place, when we have tools and training and strategy, then it becomes so much more simple, and we can just really get back to enjoying it and enjoying conversations with people.
Yeah. And enjoying the connection you're making with people virtually. I know people, if things are like, people do get stressed about social media, but they keep going back to it because there's got to be things that they enjoy. So you want to make sure you're being what people enjoy. Is that part of the thing? Is that you want to make sure people are enjoying you?
Yes, I always come back to, we need to do posts that are educational, we need to do inspirational, and then we need to be entertaining. So we're not saying that we have to be goofy in every single video. But if we are just so heavy on the education, and we're just like colic, ear infections, disc health, migraines, principle number 6, and we're just so heavy on the education, they're gonna tune out like my 7th grader during math. So we have to have that mix of having something fun. Just like we need to have a mix of personal posts where we say, oh, look at this, we had a family fishing day, and so it's when we have that mix that we can balance it out. And because I always realize too, like just with all my kids, realizing some people want a video and some people want text in a carousel post. So having that strategy, we can reach all the people, and maybe it doesn't go viral. Maybe it doesn't look like the reach was great, but maybe it was the content for that one person because they love their information. I love words. I want words in a post. Please don't, I wouldn't even do videos if I didn't have to, because I just want the words on a paper that I can scroll through. So having that mix of those things, we can educate, inspire, and entertain.
There you go. Educate, inspire, and entertain. We've got EIE. That's that'd be great to remind that. Well, is there any last thing you'd like to share with people before we close this episode?
I think the last thing is just to thank everybody who is a chiropractor for what they do for the world, because there's the times when I see one of my loved ones suffering or in need and I can't adjust them. I do not have those skills. And so I'm so grateful for all of the chiropractors just showing up in their communities and serving. And I'm just so grateful for all of you.
And we got this message, EIE, educate, inspire, entertain. And I look forward to getting to see you in person at Mile High. And I highly recommend people visit you at Mile High. And thank you so much for focusing on audio communications in the material. Also, remembering what principle 6 is, which I heard you say, which is people's favorite principle. And thank you for helping chiropractors get more people on more tables more often.
It's my pleasure.
And keep changing spines, lives, and minds with chiropractic. And we look forward to seeing you on higher ground. RiseUpToMileHigh.com. And remember, as I said, make sure that you hit subscribe so you never miss